and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Anna, and we have reached the end of April, so you know what that means. It means that we are going to talk about all of the books I read in this month, and let me tell you, I actually read a lot of books this month. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was because I was studying so much in March, and I had my exams in March as well, so now I just feel free. I've been released from those shackles, and I've read so many books, and I am quite excited to talk to you about all of the books that I've read, and of course, then I will be talking about my tiny May TBR. So the first book that I finished in April was The Iron Crown by L.L. MacRae. I think that's her name. That's how you pronounce it. I am not sure. And this is the first book in the Dragon Spirits trilogy. I did talk about the novella. I think it was in February, The Citron Key, and I gave it 3 stars. And this book, unfortunately, will have to be 3 stars as well. I was quite excited for this series because one thing that I really enjoyed about this world is the fact that dragons are spirits and they haunt or they, protect certain parts of the region. So for example, if you have a very big forest, there's a chance that a dragon spirit is there protecting that forest. The same thing can happen for mountains, lakes, oceans, anything, literally anything. And of course, the bigger the ocean, the bigger the dragon, the bigger the forest, the bigger the dragon, and the stronger the dragon is. And I just really enjoyed that concept and the fact that the dragons, they're not good people. These dragons are pretty trickster. So they can either curse you or bless you. And if you do hurt their habitat, they're going to be very pissed at you, let me tell you. And I just really liked it because I've never read a book where dragons are portrayed that way, where they are spirits that live, in certain regions. They cannot leave their territory. They are stuck in that forest, mountain, ocean, whatever it is. And I just thought it was very original. It was something new, unique, and I really enjoyed that. But the reason why I'm giving this book 3 stars, it's because the premise didn't captivate me, and this is my fault. So one thing that I do want to clarify about The Iron Crown is that it is not badly written at all. It is well written. I did enjoy the writing. It's not anything outstanding, but it is good writing. The problem really was the plot, the premise for me. So in this book, we follow 3 POVs. One of them is Fen, and he has been cursed. Not just him, a lot of people have been showing up with a weird curse where they just have amnesia. They don't remember anything about their life, their past, nothing. And of course, they are trying to find a way to remember again, especially because they found out that after a certain amount of time, they end up dying. So of course, Fen is like, yeah, I'm not gonna die, so we need to find out what the heck happened to me. And then we have another character, which is Kalidra, and at the beginning of this book, she is invited, and the reason why I'm saying invited to her father's funeral, it's because she is estranged from her family. They do not get along well at all. She does not get along with her mother at all, and that's why, she's invited. She doesn't really want to go because she doesn't want to be with her mother, but her girlfriend says, you know what, you should go. It's your father. He passed away. You should be there. So the adventure starts with her going and traveling to her lands to be at her father's funeral. The problem is she's attacked on the way, and she gets separated from her girlfriend. And of course, she tries to find her girlfriend. She does end up going to her father's funeral, but they are attacked by the Mir, which are creatures that were thought to be not extinct, but they were thought to be defeated. Alas, they were not defeated. They have come back again to threaten the Empire. So now we have an Empire threat, and then our other character which is Torsten? Maybe, I don't know if this is his name, but he is an inquisitor, which means that he works for the queen. Every time the queen gives him orders, he has to follow them out. And one of the orders is to find people like Fen, people who are called lost souls, because they need to understand what these lost soul means. Are these people cursed by the Mir? Is this something that we should be worried about? So this is mainly what is happening throughout the book. And as you can tell, to me, it just is not appealing at all. I didn't really care about the lost souls, amnesia type of premise. It wasn't for me. I was bored most of the time, and honestly, this first book felt like a prologue for the other 2 books, and I generally don't mind that. The problem was because this premise really wasn't for me, and it just wasn't something that I enjoyed, it just really killed the book for me. So if you enjoy this premise and you enjoy the synopsis, then I would recommend you reading this book because I think you would like it, but because it was just not something that I would particularly like, it just didn't work for me. And the second book I read in the month of April was I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy, and I ended up giving this 4 stars, which is quite surprising because one of my goals this year is to read outside of my comfort zone, and I decided to pick up a biography. And the reason why I chose this one, it's because number 1, people have, said that it's quite simple to read, it is not complicated at all, and number 2, a lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people, enjoyed this book. They raved about it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe there's a big chance that I will like it. And I did. Even though I didn't grow up with Jennette McCurdy. I know. I did not grow up with Nickelodeon at all. So I didn't really have a big connection with her. It was still fascinating to see her life. And I don't know if fascinating is the best word, because her life was very, very, very tough. I don't know how she just even managed to get to where she is today mentally, because I watched a few interviews afterwards, and she seems a lot more healed, really composed. And I don't know how, because her life was insane. And the reason why I'm giving this book 4 stars, and I know it's a little bit weird to criticize a biography because this is a person's life. The reason why I'm giving this 4 stars is because there were moments where I felt like Jennette was being a little bit too repetitive. So she was trying to show a pattern in her life, and I understand that, but it just became a little too repetitive. And I was like, okay, I get it. Your mother does not respect you. Your mother is always expecting you to please her. Your mother just really doesn't care about what you want, how you feel, how you don't feel. And I understand that. I understand why she wanted to include as many moments as possible, because it truly was a pattern in her life, which sucks. But I just felt like it was a little bit too repetitive, and I was getting bored a little bit. But other than that, I really enjoyed the book. The writing is very accessible. She does not have a complicated prose at all, which I really appreciated, because I don't know why. Like I said, this is my first biography, so I can't really speak on this too much. But whenever I want to read biographies, or if I wanted to read more biographies, I do enjoy a more direct and accessible writing, because if you embellish your life too much, I think you might be romanticizing it, and maybe you're not, I don't know, it's not like you're not retelling the events as they happened, but maybe if you romanticize it a little bit, it's just, it doesn't seem as genuine. With Jennette, it really seemed genuine, because like I said, the writing was just direct. She was just telling the things as they were, how it went, how she felt about all of it, and I really, really appreciated that honesty. So if you want to start reading biographies, I would actually recommend you starting with this one. And for the third book in April, I actually read The Scholar in the Last Fairy Door by H.G. Parry. I do not know, but it's going to be here on the screen, okay? And I actually gave this 4 stars, and I was very surprised, because I usually don't tend to like books like this. They're just kind of like 3 stars for me, but this is some sort of dark academia fantasy book, and I actually really enjoyed it. And the reason why it's number 1, the writing of this author, stunning, amazing, gorgeous, show-stopping. The way that she crafted the atmosphere and the whimsical of it all and the academia of it all, I don't know, like, I just absolutely loved it. I felt like I was in Camford, in this imaginary college. I just loved it. I love her descriptions, how she described the building, the magic in there, how she also described the students studying and researching, because they're all academics. I just absolutely loved that. I ate it up. It was beautiful, to say the least. And I also enjoyed where the story went, because, by the title, I thought that they were going to find the last fairy door kind of by, 70% through the book. But no, it actually happens pretty fast. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, then what happens afterwards? So you do have a time jump, and I didn't enjoy quite the time jump, and the reason why, it's because then you have a big chunk of the book where she does have to update you on what the characters were doing, where they ended up in life, and I was quite bored, if I'm being honest, because I did like the characters, but I didn't connect with them to that level where I just care about what happened to them and what they've been doing and what they've been thinking and just all of that, and I did find that quite a little bit boring. But afterwards, the last 100 pages were amazing, because we needed that time jump, and we did need that, to know what everyone else was doing, and just the consequences of opening up the fairy door. I did enjoy that, so I enjoyed where the story went, even though I had different expectations for it. I still loved how it ended, because it did have consequences, nobody dies, okay, nobody dies, but it still does have consequences, and I absolutely love that. If you do want to read, some fantasy, dark academia, if you love fairies, you're going to absolutely love this book, because like I said, the atmosphere, 10 out of 10. The story was also pretty good. It's not something, original or something that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. No, it really wasn't. And the characters were okay. So it's not that the characters are not well constructed. They are well constructed. They just, didn't really stay with me. But it is a very good book if you want something like a palate cleanser, if you will. In between books that are heavy or books that are hefty. I would highly recommend this book. Like I said, if you love dark academia, fairies, everything and anything academic, you're absolutely going to enjoy this book. And then I continued my journey into reading books that are outside of my comfort zone, and I read Por Amor, Madalena de Lara Fresco. This is a Portuguese author, so I don't really expect you guys to know much about it, and I enjoyed this book. I gave it a 3 stars. Romance is not really my thing, it's just not my favorite genre. I get bored of it, but this book is very, very important, and the reason I say this is because the theme discussed here, which is domestic violence, is always important, and I think a lot of people, especially young women, should read about this because it talks about the signs. In this case, it is a man, okay, but it all starts with a person that they are just, you can tell the signs by seeing how possessive they are of you and how they don't enjoy when you spend time with other people, with your friends. And you have to remember that your friends were there before this person. You had friends before, you were a person before, you had hobbies, you had things to do, and you can't allow yourself to just isolate yourself, because that's what happened to Madalena here in this book. She started dating when she was in 10th grade, I believe, so she was 15 years old. She met this guy, they were in the same class, and he seemed pretty sad, and he did have a sad life, because in his own household, his father was abusive towards him and his mother as well, and that's where he learned how to be violent and how to interact with another person, essentially. And she felt very sorry for him. She befriended him, and then they ended up, falling in love, and she started to see weird signs because he didn't like when she went out with her friends. He didn't enjoy the fact that she would go and do things without him. He always had to be there, and then it always had to be something that he enjoyed, because if it wasn't something that he liked, he would just mope for the entire day, which was very, very unpleasant. And even simple things, for example, she actually goes through something very, very tragic. Madalena loses both of her parents in a car crash, and it's a very devastating time, and she even admits, her boyfriend at the time was the one that saved her. He helped her a lot, but she wanted to do something fun. For example, her grandparents were the ones that, of course, took care of her after her parents passed away, and her grandmother suggested, hey, why don't you go swim? Why don't you go swimming, take some swimming lessons, have something fun, do something that moves your body, just something fun. And she actually enjoyed the idea, but when she told her boyfriend that she wanted to do swimming as a sport, he got so upset because he was like, oh my god, you're gonna be in a swimming suit? Everybody's gonna see you. You just want to flaunt yourself. And she was so confused because, and even I was confused. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean flaunt? Everyone there is in a swimming suit? Hello? And it's just these little signs that she began to ignore, and then they both go to college, and this is where the relationship goes downhill, because he hit her for the first time when they were at college, because she always wanted to live the college life, and her parents actually always incentivized her to live the college life and to have the experiences that they had. And she promised her parents, I'm going to enjoy everything that college has to offer, but of course that is not happening because her boyfriend doesn't allow her to go out. And even though sometimes they do go out, but like I said, he mopes all the time, he always gets angry with her, and it's just that cycle of, oh, I'm never doing this again, I'm sorry, I'm never gonna hit you again, and it always ends up happening. And the way the book ends is quite tragic, because you don't know if Madalena actually survives, because her boyfriend beats her very, very badly, and he is delusional to the point where he genuinely thinks that they are going to be together still, like after. And she was like, you sent me to the hospital, like, are you okay? And he was like, oh, but that was just an accident. And you just really have to, like I said, see the signs. And that's why I'm saying, like, this book, although I didn't really enjoy it because it's not really my genre, I highly recommend, especially young women, to read this book, because you have to see the signs, and you can't allow nobody to take away your freedom to go out and to do things that you enjoy, that make you alive, because it doesn't mean that you're going to cheat on that person, because that was something that he was always afraid of. And I think people like that are afraid of you cheating on them because they know that they're shitty. Like, it is because of that, because they know they don't treat you right, and that you're going to find someone else that is going to treat you right the more you leave the house. And that's exactly what happened to Madalena. She found someone that actually took care of her and listened to her and listened to whatever she had to say, and she felt so secure and calm around that person. And of course, eventually you just realize that the relationship you're in is not healthy at all. So yeah, this is what I think about this book. I give it 3 stars, but I would highly recommend this book if you are young. Please read it, because the signs need to be heard, they need to be seen, and domestic violence is a problem, unfortunately, everywhere in the world, and we need to start, taking it seriously. And then I actually read my first nonfiction of the year, which is Why I Love Horror by Becky. I don't remember. I really don't remember her last name, but it's going to be here on the screen. It wasn't written by her. It was edited by her, because this is a collection of 18 essays. So 18 horror authors were invited to write 18 essays on why they love horror, why the horror genre is their favorite, why they love writing horror, all that kind of stuff. And I gave this book 3.5 stars. And the reason for this is because it got a little bit too repetitive. When you have 18 people speaking about their inspiration, narrations and talking about why they love horror, it does all kind of blend in together, and it starts being repetitive and the same thing over and over again, and I did get bored. But I would highly recommend this book if you are a horror genre fanatic, if that is your thing, if you absolutely love horror. I would highly recommend this book because, I don't know, it just really gave me a different perspective on why we might love horror, because it is a scary genre. It's scary, it's gory, it's macabre, it's everything scary, and they explained why we love horror sometimes, and I could resonate with a few things. I think the reason why, for example, I love horror, I was really scared of it before, but the more I grow up, of course I do realize that a lot of the stories are not real. The ghosts are not going to haunt me. They're not going to be here, but I am careful, okay? I am careful because ain't no ghost haunting me, okay? Because if the moment I see something weird in this household, I will leave. I'm not going to be stupid and stay here, because I've never read a book where you actually defeated a ghost. Like, I genuinely have never read anything like it. If you know a book where the characters have actually defeated a ghost, exorcised it, it's gone, deleted from this world, let me know, because I need to know how to defeat it in case it happens to me. But one of the reasons why I think we all love horror, it's because the world is horror in and of itself. Life is horror. We go through so many stuff when we're alive, because that's just how life is, so many terrible things happen, especially in today's climate. Everything is scary, everything is horror, and horror is all around us, and I think that's why we also enjoy it, especially because it is more of a controlled environment. And what I mean by this is, whenever you're reading a horror book, it feels like you're defeating the horror. It feels like you're defeating the creatures with the characters, and you feel safe. It's something familiar, because in the real world, you feel that type of horror, you feel that type of scared. But in the book, you actually defeat the thing that is haunting you, the thing that is tormenting you. Whilst in real life, you can't really do that, because a lot of things that are happening right now are not controlled by us, unfortunately. I think we can use our voices, of course, and speak, but it's something that we cannot stop as people. We just can't stop it, and I think that's why we also love horror. It's something scary, but it also resonates with us, because life and the world is scary, unfortunately. And I finished the month by reading The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This is my library's copy. That's why it looks so battered. But the reason why I picked this up, it's because I was feeling, I want a thriller. Let's just read something quick. And a lot of people really raved about this book. I think it blew up when it came out. A lot of people loved this. A lot of people raved about the plot twist as well. And I do have to say, I did not enjoy the plot twist. And I'm giving this one, a 3.5 stars. And the reason why I'm giving it 3.5, it's because I love the discussions of mental health in this book. I loved how the author truly focused on our childhoods, because that's where a lot of trauma occurs. And it really creeps on us when we're adults, and we don't realize it. Most of the times, we don't realize that a lot of trauma does come from our childhood, and it can really justify a lot of behaviors that we have as adults. And I really enjoyed that conversation. But like I said, the plot twist, I did not like it at all, because it was cheap, in my opinion. It was something unexpected, sure, but it was something unexpected because there were no clues throughout the book that the plot twist was going to happen that way. And that, to me, is not a good plot twist at all. To me, a good plot twist is when the author is leaving clues throughout the story. You have to expect the plot twist, if you know what I mean. So basically, a good plot twist to me is when you have a lot of theories, and they're all something that you can expect. They're just, everything is expected, and maybe you have one or two details that are not expected. That is fine, but it does have to be something that you can conceive. And in this case, you just couldn't conceive it at all, because there were no clues left for you to understand and predict what was going to happen. And I actually didn't really like the plot twist in and of itself, because honestly, the theories that I had in my head were way cooler. And this is called The Silent Patient. So you are expecting a silent patient, and the reason for why she was silent all of these years, because if you don't know, in this book, we follow this therapist, and he is very interested in this one woman that has stayed silent for probably, I think 6-8 years, I don't know, I don't remember, but she has stayed silent for a very, very long time after murdering her husband. Nobody really understands why she did it. She was a very famous painter. Nobody knew, nobody understood, and she has never said a word after the murder, not to the police, not to the court, not even to the doctors that do take care of her at the psychiatric place that she is at. She has just never said a word. And of course, that is very intriguing, because you're like, why has she never said a word? And the reason why, I'm not going to give it to you, I'm not going to spoil it, don't worry, but it's just stupid. It's literally stupid. And I was just like, really? This is why you've never spoken for all of these years? And I was left so disappointed, because like I said, the theories in my head were so much better. And I don't know, it's just one of those thrillers where I was just like, yeah, I don't understand the plot twist. I don't understand the hype about this at all. I really did enjoy the mental health discussion in this book, and the debates, and how therapy can truly help someone, and we should never give up on someone, or at least try to not give up on someone. But everything that does make a good thriller just wasn't there for me. And those were all the books I read in the month of April. And now let's talk about the 2 books that I have in my May TBR. So the first book that I do want to read in the month of May is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio. I don't really know how to pronounce his name, so please bear with me. And I've actually already started it. I am 25% through, and I might be filming a reading vlog dedicated to this book alone because people, this is all I'm going to say, I am quite enjoying it, and this can be my first 5-star of the year because believe it or not, I still haven't found a 5-star book. I don't know what is happening, but I just heard so many good things about this series, and although I'm not really a sci-fi fan, it's just not, for me, it's not my preferred setting or genre, I am quite enjoying this book because it is slow. And I can tell that this might not be, everyone's cup of tea because of that. It is extremely, extremely slow. But because this series has probably, I don't know how many books out, maybe 6 or 7, I actually don't mind that this book does feel like a huge prologue for the rest of the books because there are 7 or 6 books out. I actually don't mind how slow it is. I really prefer books like this, so I am very excited. And another book that is on my TBR is The Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier, I think that's how you pronounce it. And I do have a copy from my library. And I was honestly very surprised because the first time I saw this in my library, I was shocked because I didn't know that they had translated a lot of the books by Juliet Marillier. I think I have the whole trilogy in my library, which makes me very excited because I've only started this, I think it was 2 days ago, and I only read, I think, 25 pages. Let me just confirm if I really read. Yeah, 26 pages. That's all I read. And honestly, I'm loving this. I'm loving this so much. The prose is beautiful. The writing is beautiful. I just know I'm going to eat this book up, especially because it has such a whimsical feeling to it, but it's not a good whimsical feeling, if you understand me. What I'm trying to say is it's kind of like a dark whimsical, because I just know that a lot of dark stuff are going to happen in this book, and I am so ready. I am so ready for this. I've only heard good things about this trilogy, especially from Peru's project. She loved this trilogy. She loved the books, and I cannot wait to get into this because I've only read 26 pages, and I can also tell you that this is a contender for 5 stars, and I just really hope it stays that way because I'm having a rough reading year because I just still haven't found a 5-star book, but I really hope this and Empire of Silence really does it. And that is it for this video, guys. Please let me know down in the comments below, how many books did you read in April? What did you think about all of the books that I read in April? Have you read any of them? Let me know what you thought about them. Let me know also what your favorite book in April was, because I'm always looking for some good recommendations. And also, please let me know what books are you going to read in May. Have you read, any of the books I am about to read in the month of May? Please let me know your opinion down below. And please do not forget to like and subscribe because it does help my channel out a lot. And it gives me a lot of motivation and validation to continue filming these videos for you guys. And I will see you on my next video. Bye!